one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is hard. All righty, we'll call to order. Has everyone had an opportunity to look at the agenda? I assume, I'm sure you have, since you had to wait for me. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
All in favor?
Yes, aye.
Aye.
Second. All right. All right, we'll move on. Approval of the January minutes.
I motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. And we move on to the financials. Terry here?
I am.
Carolyn, we need to approve the annual meeting minutes first.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we did. Oh, you're right, Sharon. Sorry about that.
got it. I'll motion to approve.
I'll make a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry about that, I'm flustered. All right, then we'll move on to the financials.
Okay, the reason I will speak up here because you've all got them in front of you, I hope. The reason the payroll expense was so high, I paid myself for about 15 months of work. I paid 12,000 and paid me up in full.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So that's the reason payroll expense looks that high. So that's a one-time deal. The event marketing expense is for our Zoom. And just because it is something we're doing monthly, we do have that expense.
We also sent out membership invoices last week, and we've been getting some income from that. So that'll appear on our next month next board meeting.
That will, right.
Hey, Terry, was that Zoom an annual purchase or just a month?
No, it's a monthly fee that we're paying right now for that. And that may have been for 2 months that I paid. I'd have to go back in the invoices.
Okay.
Still playing catch up.
Playing catch up since we got the funds in January. Yes.
So I know we got our statement, but I didn't look at it. Did we gave the discount, is that correct? For membership?
We get $200 if you were doing, and you've got a credit, Sharon, so please do not pay.
Okay. I'm just making sure that the discount was noted on there so people would know.
It is.
Okay, cool.
It is.
I think it was noted in the letter too, if I'm not correct, that shall be put with it.
It should have been in the letter too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just haven't opened mine.
Any more discussion on the financials? Do we have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the financials.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I'm in my meeting.
All righty, discussion of events.
So I will kind of start. Ron couldn't be here today. Mardi Gras in the Mountains just kind of ended last week, and we did some virtual music. Our bands from Mardi Gras were able to give us some music, so we promoted that and played that on YouTube. We also did the Chapatula. That was socially distanced and all that good stuff. So we got a video of that and put it on Facebook. And that's pretty much it for Mardi Gras in the Mountains. We tried to sell some t-shirts, but we had to sell a minimum this year. That way we weren't sitting on a bunch of t-shirts and didn't have to pay up front because we don't really have the money for that. And unfortunately, we didn't meet our minimum, so we weren't able to get any t-shirts this year. So we will start planning for next year.
That's too bad. It was a really nice shirt design too.
Mm-hmm.
I would certainly like to have had one. All righty, is that it, Shelby?
Yep.
On Mardi Gras?
Yep.
Art and wine.
Art and wine, we are working on. Ron suggested that we work with the New Mexico Wine Growers Association. So I have a call with them tomorrow morning, and we're hopefully going to kind of get the ball rolling on that. We're not sure what art and wine is even going to look like this year, what we're going to be able to do this year. So we'll kind of try to start working out all those kinks and hopefully get some more details and get vendor applications out if we need to and all that good stuff here shortly.
Yeah. We hope, we hope. Shelby did get a contact for somebody from Ron. Hopefully they'll message her back soon. Alrighty, so we don't need to vote on this.
No.
We would like to discuss the Town of Red River running the events that we spoke about for them permanently. April brought up, we had a little meeting with April and Linda, and they mentioned that it would probably be easier for them if we just sever it completely so they have full control and aren't having to deal with, you know, the companies making sure that it's an event that's going to be viable, that they're going to get to keep. And so we just wanted to open that up for discussion. I totally understand the reason behind it, and I'm fine with that myself.
Yeah, if anybody else has any other explanation too, a little bit of it is just the companies that we're looking at for the bike event and the other event and the running event. They want to run the events and have them, and they don't want to create a successful event, you know, and then have somebody, you know, the chamber come back and say, oh, but it's ours, I want it back. So that isn't going to happen. We are putting clauses in that we do give these events or these other companies run the events, that we always have first right of refusal if they want to sell them back to us. The company that is actually looking at doing the bike event just purchased Outside Magazine yesterday. So they
Wow.
a lot, all outside. I was like, oh,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah. So they come in with a lot of horsepower. And I think some of you met the kids that were here from Gemini who are really good, that are looking at doing the running event up at the Enchanted. So
I'm sorry, April, you broke up for me just a little bit. What did you say they just purchased? The company that's trying to take the bike event?
Outside Magazine.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So, which is really kind of cool because it gives them another tie to New Mexico all of a sudden. So,
May I ask a question?
uh-huh.
I'd like to know, April, if Red River is going to retain those events as a part of, I'd like to see a contract that states that Red River is not giving those events away.
Well, it's, the contract will be with that company between us and the town is who it will be with. They will own the event per se. They have different pockets that they put money back into town. Both of them do. We can't keep, it's not like we're hiring these guys to just put on the event. These guys are going to take over the event and do the event. And if you want that full, what do I want to say, their horsepower behind it. Yes, we're giving him the event, but there is going to be stipulate. We haven't got the contract yet, Karen, so I can't tell you exactly, but I know the things we have discussed is that we make sure that, for example, both events always start and end in Red River, that they're always here. They're never leaving here, no matter who does them at what time. But like I said, as we get that, I should have that contract I hope from Chandler, and then Linda has to go through it and look at it. But yeah, I mean, I think we're, we can't say, hey, we can't say you can have this, but you can't have this. It's something, we've both got to give and take a little bit on these. And that's why I talked with Carolyn and why we're getting the letter from the chamber that they're giving us the events, even though that there's, yeah. So we're just trying to do it properly so that everything legally is all clipped in the
Yeah, we
mud.
have to cover all of our bases and make sure everything's legal.
Yep.
I think honestly, just my 2 cents worth, I don't think that a vote should be done on this prior to seeing that contract and approving it by the board. I am not a board member and have no say whatsoever in it, but they were Century Tour was a very, very successful event at one time. So it is worthy of making sure that Red River stays a part of that event. And
Absolutely.
I'm very concerned about the cart being before the horse.
Well, Karen, I think too, you have to understand the contract's not signed and it's not going to get signed until we get this piece of the puzzle done right now. Either that we have the ability as a town to say, this is what we want and this is what you give us. And you can we can sit down with Linda and discuss it. But if we want this event to even become anything like it was at all, we've got to hand it all over to somebody who professionally knows how to do it. And hopefully you will meet Chandler at the end of the month. He's going to come in at the end for the last day of skiing and a couple days afterwards. And who did anybody on the board meet Jim and I when they're here? Sharon, you guys met him, didn't you? Yeah.
April, are you only asking for a vote for the Century Tour and the half marathon?
I like all the events just so that we have it all clean with everybody as we go forward with them.
And does that include the Brew Bash?
Yeah, I don't that and I'm up in the air with that one, Shelby, if you want. I talked to, actually been chatting with Michael a little bit about seeing if the Brewers Guild would be interested in doing that one. So we can do that and go that way with that one too if you want. Brew Bash we're not looking at this year just because we don't know what's going to happen at this point.
So
We're going to really discuss Bike Race and Century Tour and get that settled. That's important that they get that settled so they can start getting out their registrations and all of that.
Yep.
Okay, so my question is, to go back to what Karen was saying, Karen, I'm just trying to understand exactly where you're coming from, that's all. Are you saying that you think that a stipulation that you would like to see is that this event were to start and end in Red River regardless?
Yes, absolutely.
That's part of the
I agree with
contract.
that.
But we haven't seen the contract. We don't
Right.
know what the
And you're not-
contract says.
And the contract's not going to be between the chamber and the town and
Right.
it's going to be between, it's, I'm working with this as a town employee. This is my other hat I'm putting on and I don't.
And I guess
Yeah.
my question is, it still remains, because Karen, I understand where you're coming from, but when is the last time that Century Tour or the half marathon made any money at all for the chamber and we didn't lose money?
it makes money every year.
Does it? Okay, I was just curious.
It doesn't lose money.
The other thing that I want to bring up is a few meetings ago when we first started discussing all of the events, we discussed a potential bidding process and other, event planners if they want to come in on these events. So doing this would eliminate that option for the future. So we need to keep that in mind as well if we want to go event by event or just say the town has all of the events permanently, that will eliminate that option, which was discussed prior.
Do we as the chamber even have like the manpower as far as board members who dedicate time to these events for it to even really be a discussion as to why we shouldn't let it go? I feel like at this point, it's better for us in the long run to just let these events go. Like just cut our losses at this point and let somebody actually turn it into a good event that will benefit Red River in the long run.
Well, we've decided to not have the chamber run the event. And as far as the Century Tour and the half marathon, a professional company who does it all the time would be great. But the other events, like Brew Bash, Car Show, and Aspencade, those are those other ones that we gave to the town, but then said we would revisit in a year, 2 years, 5 years, and give to, put up to bid or whatever we want to do. So that's my only concern, just to kind of clarify all the lines and decide what we want to do, because this is a permanent thing now.
Yes.
I just want to say, hi guys. I want to say that I do stand behind what Karen has said as far as, and I understand where April is coming from as well. I understand that April will be handing this off as a Red River employee as the other half of her position. But I think, the baton starts here. So we have to kind of make sure, that those things are going to be taken care of and that the event will stay in Red River, because that's the point, is that we bring that business here. So I just wanted to say that, I do stand behind those things. I don't want to put a bump in the road. I just think that we need to, make sure that it's going to go to good hands and that it is going to stay here and not be taken away once it is a successful event and say, well, it's
both of these companies, whether it be Gemini or Will Massive that's doing the ride, are not in this to just come in and fleece the town and walk away tomorrow. Both of these companies and both of them are coming here because they want to take these events and turn them up a bunch of notches, and not even just make them one-day events. Both companies are looking at doing these into 2 to 4 to 5 day events. These aren't, we just didn't go get Johnny, no name from down the road. Sybil did a lot of research. I've known these guys with Real Massive and their company, it's Pocket Outdoor Media, for a long time. I've known him for over 10 years when they used to do, he put on Ride the Rockies for 10 years. That's a huge event that actually after he left is not doing as well, but his 5 or 6 events that he does in Colorado are the biggest riding events outside of the Durango to Silverton ride. That's the only one he doesn't have. He also has 2 events in Tucson, and then bringing in Outside Magazine as a partner. They're not looking at just this ride. They're looking at starting a partnership here with the town. They have a yoga magazine, they have a fly fishing magazine. So they have some opportunities that we would never be able to get a hold of without this group, is what I look at. The Century Tour, a bicycle ride like that is not something that you just put on with 5 people, as Shelby probably knows really well. It takes more than that. We are still gonna source volunteers from town. My job here isn't I didn't take these, but I didn't take this on as getting these events and giving them away somewhere. I took these on as trying to figure out who the best person is that could do these to make these the best for our town. Because it's not about getting rid of them. It's about making them better and going forward and making them really successful events. The Gemini kids are talking about over 200 people to start with this year. I'll bet, I've talked to Chandler, he's comfortable that we'll get at least 500 plus riders this year. But nobody's going to guarantee that, but we're looking at that. So I think, I think concerns are well voiced, but I also want you to know I'm doing this from as my job here too, as the tourism director, to put more heads in beds. I'm not, you know, we're not just giving these away. We're going to be working these events too. Aspen Cave, we're chatting with Steve Hagelin. We're trying to work that the best we can. So yeah, we want to work these. I talked to Michael maybe about talking to Brewers Guild for getting, you know, taking over Brew Bash, but I just want to make sure when we go into contracts with other people, we're clean with the chamber on this. So, and you know, and in the same vein, you guys, there's nothing stopping any of these companies from coming in and doing these things, you know, coming in and saying, oh, you know what, we wouldn't work with them in Red River, so we can run and go down to Taos and do this here. There's nothing stopping them from doing this. So we have a good faith group right now that you know, like I said, these aren't just fly by night people. These are friends and people that I've known and watched do things really, really well. And I think if we want to move these to another level and step them up, then we need to take these steps too. And you know, and Linda and the town's not going to do anything that's not good for the town. I just want to reiterate that too.
You know, and I can myself, from where I'm sitting, as far as bike race goes, I really only see a benefit for all of us business owners in town. If they grow that event twofold, we're only going to benefit for it as long as, but I do agree we need to make sure that they're willing, you know, to stay in Red River, of course. But I only see benefit myself. Because I remember the years that the bike race was big. And, you know, a lot of people stayed, a lot of people ate out. It was a really, really large event. That's just my opinion.
I don't have any concerns because the town's not going to enter into a contract that doesn't benefit the town. And so,
Right.
I think April's been clear that it's going to start here and end here. That's a requirement. And so I think that's, you know, as long as that's part of it, I don't have a concern myself.
Any more discussion, guys?
So do we want to vote on the Century Tour and the half marathon as one vote and the other events as a separate vote? Or do we all agree kind of just permanently give all of the events to the town? What are we thinking there?
Shelby, I'll step out of the vote just because we're with the town, but I think it would be really nice and just clean, make it super clean if you voted on each event and doing it separately, and then we get Carolyn to write a letter for each event, and I'll help you write it if you want, Carolyn, too. Just so that everything's separate and it's not just in one bundle.
Anybody else? I guess not. So does somebody want to make a motion?
Wait, okay, so just to be clear, are we voting on all of the events that we planned on giving them, or just a few? Because the other ones we said we were going to revisit down the road, or are we voting on all of them? I just want to like clarify before I say anything moving forward.
I would like to, I'm going to interject here. I think that we should today vote on bike race and the run, simply because this will give, if we wait till next month and we get some more membership involved in this, it might help us make a decision. It may improve our ability to make a decision, I guess.
I think we only vote on those two right now. I think I'm not comfortable doing the rest.
Alrighty.
Well, then I will make a motion that we permanently turn over the bike race and the run to the town, and we can revisit the other events at a later date.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I'll abstain.
Sharon, were you an aye or are you waiting?
Sorry, I'm typing. I have a hard time. I've got two different mouses and two different computers, so I'm typing these minutes. So I'm an aye.
Any
And
nay?
Danette said aye in the chat. I don't know if anybody saw that.
Alrighty, motion carries. And then we will revisit these other events. If everybody, if you would talk to some of your friends, business owner friends, and some of membership, if all of us, just ask a couple or two or three friends or business owners how they feel about it, I think we can come back to this possibly next month a little more clear.
And just so you know too, just to keep everything clear, I'm chatting with Steve Hagelin about Aspencade. He wants, and we're going to put a contract together with him on that too. So that we probably need to do that one, check on that one first before we do the other. And we will look at doing the car show. We're trying to plan the car show for this year as best we can. It's keeping it similar. We've gotten letters out just so you know where we're at, and we're not stepping that up because we don't know where we're going to be with group sizes and all that. So Brew Bash, because it was slated so early before Memorial Weekend, we're not even going to stab at that this year until next year. So that one we can wait. And like I said, I would suggest we talk to Michael Calhoun about that.
Sounds good. All righty, so let's move on. We need to vote on vendor refunds. Shelly, explain to them why we're revisiting this.
So previously in all of our vendor contracts, and last year at the beginning of COVID, we were letting all of our vendors know that they would not be receiving a refund. They would be receiving a credit towards a future event if the event got canceled. So they knew that going in, they knew that signing up. We have given a couple refunds here and there to vendors who are particularly spirited is a nice way to put that. But now, as far as bookkeeping goes, and since we're giving some events away, it would be best just to wipe the slate clean, have no credits, have nothing in our books saying that we made money last year when really we didn't, and have to try to carry that over and show that some other way. So the refunds we would be giving, there's 2 booths for Memorial Day. There's several for Art and Wine, and all of the Century Tour participants who signed up for last year. So it comes to a total of $4,130. We have the funds to refund them, and we feel comfortable giving them a refund. We just need a vote since we have voted previously not to refund them and to give them a credit. And I think I covered it all, Terry, right?
It sounded like you did. We just need a clean cut from this if we're going to do it.
I agree.
No, I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. I
We
do.
don't want ill will, and then that way the town starts fresh and doesn't have to worry about.
Without already having angry folks.
Yeah, we have a motion in chat and I would second that.
And I probably should have abstained from this one too.
All righty, do we have a motion? Did David just make a motion?
Danette.
No, Danette did in chat.
Oh, okay, and David seconded?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty. Motion carries. All right, now we're gonna move on to discussion. We're gonna have to talk about some bylaw changes. I think we've all probably talked about this a little bit here and there, but we want to get a little more official about it. And Shelby, will you explain what we have to do according to bylaws to change a bylaw?
Yes, so the specific bylaws that we're looking at changing dictate the number of board members and then single owner operators. So we want to get this in motion before the June election. It hasn't really been done before, so there's no like precedent set for when you have to decrease the board members if we vote on that, but we kind of thought at June it would be good, instead of electing 3, we would just elect 1 if we decided that we would decrease the board to 7 seats. We have to kind of discuss it, and then we have to put it out to the membership prior to our next board meeting, so all of the membership knows that we are going to vote on a bylaw change. And then hopefully we'll have membership there to either agree or disagree. And from there we can change the bylaws. So this is just a discussion. If the board agrees with it and thinks it's a good idea to move forward, next meeting we'll invite more membership, let them know it's happening, and then the membership will make the final decision. So what's been discussed is reducing the board members to 7 instead of 9. 9 is a really big board, and we've been having some difficulty filling those positions at times. And then the second bylaw is allowing single owner operators to sit on the board. We've talked about this for the past few years, and it always gets denied. But again, we're having some difficulty. There's a lot more single owner operators in town who we think would be great on the board. So those are the 2 things that we need to just kind of discuss.
As far as the single owner operator goes, I'm of the opinion that, I mean, we're not doing this so that we can have a single owner operator on the board. We want to do it because times have changed. There might have been a time when a single owner operator didn't have as much skin in the game as Ron Weathers would say. But I discussed, talked to a couple of single owner operators, and they kind of feel like they have more skin in the game because it is just them, and it's very important that they make sure that their business is successful. I'm all for it myself.
Hey,
I agree.
tell me-
I agree with that as well.
I'm sorry, what's the number of single owner operators compared to other members? What are we looking at number wise?
I'm not sure of the number off the top of my head. I would have to go through the invoices, but there are quite a few in town.
I'm going to agree with Carolyn on this one as well.
Sharon, do you have an opinion, or are you typing?
I used to agree with the bylaw that single owner operators should not be, but the longer I've been here and engaged with more of these people, I agree that they deserve it too. They have skin in the game. And so I've kind of changed my opinion on that one.
Danette put in the chat that she agrees, and there's also another question which I'll address after this, Danette.
Okay.
So tell me, just because I'm new and I'm looking through the bylaws and stuff, I didn't glance over them. Give me an example of single owner operators. They're not an associate member, are they? Or are they?
No, there's a separate membership. That's the single owner operator membership. For example, Karen Kelly has a single owner operator membership. Red River RV Park has a single owner operator membership. It's those smaller businesses where it's just the owners. They don't have any staff or anything. And they run the whole business by themselves.
I'm a single owner operator as well, April.
Okay, yeah, that's what I kind of thought. Okay, what about Carolyn? Aren't you a single owner operator?
No.
No, I have lots of employees.
Okay.
No,
It looks like we have approximately 20 of them just by looking through the invoices I have.
Do they pay less in dues? Is that the issue?
Yes.
Some people raise that they don't, pay as much to the chamber. So
Yeah, they
Correct.
pay $100 in dues, and previously the way to get around it was if they wanted to sit on the board, they had to kind of pay to play and pay the $400, which is what we're trying to eliminate if we go through with this bylaw change. And this would not allow associate members to sit on the board either. It would still be, you have to be in Red River, you have to be a business here. It wouldn't allow someone from Cuesta to sit on the board.
So, okay, so single owner operators, would their dues go up then to match what other businesses do? Or are they still gonna be at a reduced rate, I guess is my question.
As of right now, they would still be at $100. That's not what we're kind of voting on now. We could revisit that in the future maybe. But for right now, it would still be $100.
I feel like at this point, single owner operators are paying into something that they don't even get much representation in. So I firmly believe that they should be able to sit on the board.
I really think it can only help the situation to have a different perspective, because it is a different perspective than what the other businesses are dealing with. I think that single owner operators are going to have different needs, different, different things that would help to improve their business that the chamber could provide. So I think it only adds to the realm of where we can pull from as far as getting ideas for how to support those businesses moving forward.
I agree 100%, Marisa.
And that leads towards, the pivot we've made recently in becoming more business minded instead of event focused.
So would that person, would you make a special spot on the board for single owner operators in terms of like board members? A lot of boards have different things they draw from.
No, we don't have any assigned seats on our board. We have our executive board, which gets voted on. But for example, they could run for a board position in June if they chose to do that. And then they would have to be voted on just like any other business owner or manager would.
So do we need to make a motion to submit the change to membership? Or is this just something we need to agree upon?
I'm not sure. We might make a motion just to kind of cover ourselves to move forward and send it to membership. But again, the membership would be making the final decision on that one.
How many days in advance do we need to get membership about this, Shelby?
10 days.
Okay. So we could get it out right away, and then we could do another email right down the line right before the meeting.
Yeah.
So so I guess we're gonna vote on this, so someone needs to make a motion.
I will make a motion that we propose to change our board seats from 9, reduce it to 7, and that we allow single owner operators access to become board members.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Aye.
Aye.
And Danette in the chat said aye.
All righty, motion carries.
Okay, real quick before we move to the next item, Danette put in chat a question about when we were talking about refunds, what about the businesses that prepaid for the 2020 events? We did talk to April and Linda briefly about that in our meeting, about carrying over the sponsorships to those events that the town is taking over. Obviously, the ones that the chamber still has, we can keep, those sponsorships paid for whenever we begin the events. But if that's something that we want to talk about, just refunding those businesses as well and kind of cutting those ties clean, we can put that on the agenda for next month.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good idea, because I don't know if we're going to, with this, they'll be given the same, what we're going to do right at this point with it, in terms of, you guys have set up so many things that you gave them for their membership. I don't want to be I don't know if the town would want to be responsible for that. You know, for example, if we did cups instead of t-shirts, that might make a huge difference. So I'd agree with that, you know, severing that too, if possible.
So we can put that on next month's agenda.
Yeah, and then we can also have the exact number of
Yep.
of all the businesses that would be due a refund. Okie doke. Alrighty, let's move on to the next item here. Discussion of college job fairs. This is something Shelby and I have been kicking around for a while. And I remember there was a time that the town or the ski area and the chamber did a ton of recruiting.
You missed discussion of staff, summer staff. Sorry.
Oh, darn it. I have the wrong agenda up, Shelby.
Sorry.
Oh, it's fine. Go ahead.
We have been previously in the summer, we've had a college intern. This year, we obviously don't have a ton of events or much going on to warrant a college intern. So what we've been thinking is just to kind of maybe hire someone as needed and not hire someone for the whole summer, for this summer at least.
Of just having an as needed person, sort of. Because we still don't know where we're going to be. Any opinions?
We definitely should not hire someone that we're not going to have a big need for. This is going to be someone for as needed. Do you have someone in mind, Shelby, or how many hours would be given that person?
Ellen has offered to kind of fill in if we need her, which is great because she's already been in the office and all that good stuff. For right now in the off season, come summer when she's busier with her real job, that might be an issue. My only concerns are, you know, full steam ahead. If we have Art and Wine, especially Oktoberfest, we're going to need a lot of manpower leading up to that event, not to mention at the event. So having someone or a few people kind of on standby that would be willing to, you know, come help a few weeks before the events is kind of what I'm looking for. My concern again with the intern is, even let's say this year we have a full-blown Art and Wine and the 4th of July, that's during their summer. So that's like a month that we need them. And then they're gone back to school way before Oktoberfest. So it really doesn't make much sense to even hire an intern or somebody like that for the summer.
Right.
We talked about hiring someone and bringing them into the office like a day or two a week, just to kind of give them some more consistent hours and help answer the phones during the busy season, and then give them more hours during events. But it's just difficult because everybody has other jobs too. So it'll kind of be difficult to find. And I think we'll probably have to piece a few people together to meet what we're needing at this point without blowing our budget.
You know, and maybe we should, if we're going to mainly use this person for events, maybe we should build that into our budget for the event.
Yeah.
If we, you know, help, you know, to help us, you know, be a little more economical. And I think it's just a wait and see. Hopefully we'll be open and we'll need somebody.
I just think, Carolyn, I agree with you on those events, like in terms of Oktoberfest. If you are going to need people, build that into your budget and hire them to be there rather than, you know, looking for as many volunteers, you know, in terms of, because you have to have people that are alcohol certified, if I'm correct, right, at Oktoberfest on the gates and stuff.
And we do pay a lot of people for Oktoberfest. We don't have very many volunteers at Oktoberfest at all, or Art and Wine because of that reason.
But you deal with the liquor stuff, yeah. Sometimes it's just cleaner to hire somebody, give them, you know, and keep it clean.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of a discussion topic. If anybody knows of anyone who.
And to be thinking
Yeah.
about. Yeah. So is our next on the agenda shall be to vote on the new member?
The college job fairs.
Okay. Alrighty. College job fairs it is.
This is something that we talked about to help the businesses who said they want more assistance recruiting, staff, interns, whatever. We kind of came up with the idea of the chamber representing Red River and going to these college job fairs, gathering a list of what businesses in Red River need, whether it's staff, interns, whatever, for winter, summer, fall, kind of fill in the blanks. And then we as the chamber could go and present that to these different college fairs. The nice kind of positive side of the pandemic is that right now they're all virtual. So you would only pay for like the virtual booth fee. Obviously, when they are in person, you have to pay for the travel and the lodging. But I still feel like it's something really important that our membership, we can do for our members. So just kind of want to talk about that, and if that's something we're still all on board with, and then I can start signing up for some of the job fairs and getting out internship examples and see what the businesses need us to look for them.
Yeah, we should put an email out there to all the business owners and ask them what they think they're going to need.
Housing is always going to be the issue with that.
Mm-hmm.
What was that, David? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said housing will always be an issue, as Sharon can attest to.
That's true.
And I think that's something that we put in our internship kind of sheet that we give to colleges, that you have to find your own housing. And I think businesses can say, I'll provide housing or I won't provide housing, and that might make or break some employees or interns, but I think we kind of leave that up to each business. And
well, it is better for them to know from the start that they're going to have to get their own housing, and the business does not get their hopes up and then everything falls through because they can't find a place. They can't afford to find a place to live.
mm-hmm.
So we worked with, or I talked to this gal, Sarah from Baylor University earlier last fall or last year, because she wanted to come in and do something similar with Baylor and bring in interns and stuff. And what she seemed to want was more of a program put together than just jobs. They were looking at trying to put a program of like a ski area management program or something like that together. But I surely want to check, and she couldn't make it work to do it. So it was kind of futile in that regard. But that seemed to be more on the lines of what the universities were looking for than just trying to get them jobs here, because then you actually had an intern program with these colleges that actually worked to create, people that either knew ski area management or they knew restaurant management or all that stuff, which is what, seems to be more as much of a need too that I would look at. But yeah, the housing thing's going to be the biggest crunch on that. I would also check with the ski area and see what they're doing in terms of this, because they seem to be the biggest employer in the summer too. So I'm sure you've talked to Reed about that and where they need.
I think as far as the ski area, they have their own avenues of finding interns and employees for the summer. So I think what the chamber would do is focus on the smaller businesses who still need people, but don't necessarily have the opportunity or the know-how to sign up for these and get everything together and find people on their own. So it'd be good if we can split a booth or whatever, but the ski area kind of does their own thing.
Hey Shelby, what is the fee for these online career fairs now?
It really just depends on the college and how many people they expect. The most expensive one I found so far was I think $200 and down. So it's not a huge cost, but it is a cost if we decide to go to a bunch of them.
Shelby, Do you have any way of reaching out to the owners of long-term rentals and finding out consistently what our occupancy availability is so that we can offer, that type of a side to the internship programs and things like that? I mean, that's something that as a business owner, I'd like to know, because if there's a way that I can build that into their income for the length of time that I need them, then I might consider paying for that in order to bring them in.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good idea.
Great idea, Karen.
Yeah, I can get with the long-term rental owners that I know. If anybody knows anyone else, let me know. And I can also put something on listserv saying, hey, this is what we're doing. If you have a long-term rental that might be available this summer, or just in general, give us a price range kind of thing. But that's a really good idea, so we can provide that information too.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think we would be all about helping them to find a place to live in whatever shape that takes. Any more discussion, guys? I don't think we really have anything to vote for here, do we, Shelby?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because this is the future. When are the majority of the job fairs? Are they at the end of, do they have them fall and spring?
Usually. So right now are the job fairs for the summer. So I'm going to try to get information out to businesses as soon as I can and try to attend some of those. And then in the, I guess, late summer, early fall, they'll have some for the winter. And then there's always kind of a couple sprinkled in there for random times, like fall and spring internships. So we'll just kind of see what businesses need. That's not a super huge time for a lot of businesses here.
Alrighty. We are to voting for our new member?
Yes. So Sheehan Family Winery, the tasting room at Alpine Lodge, has requested to be a member. They filled out their application and all that good stuff. Sean's been coming to our events forever. So they want to be a member. So we just have to vote them in if we decide to do that.
We all know who they are, I think. So
I make a motion to accept Sean and Sheehan's membership.
I think
I
we
will second.
should, oh, sorry.
We have David seconded. Ayes?
Aye, definitely.
Bring on the booze.
All
Maybe
right.
we can have a chamber tasting there or something.
Say that again, April?
Maybe we need to have a chamber tasting to make sure they're,
I think that research is always a good thing.
okay. I'm in.
Do we have any AOB?
We have the June Board of Directors election.
Right, I'm
just wanna-
sorry.
No, that's fine. I just want to touch on, so this June, the seats that are going to be up is Carolyn, April, and Elizabeth. If the membership decides to decrease the board size, then we would obviously only be filling one seat versus the 3 seats. So just to kind of get it on everybody's radar, that happens in June. In April, the board is going to elect a nominating committee of 5 board members. And then they will kind of come up with people who want to run. And then after that, in May, outside people can also sign up to run, and we will send out ballots at the end of May and then have the election results in June. So just to kind of keep that on everybody's horizon, because that always slips through the cracks. So maybe we can try to start rounding up some people for those elections in June. I know there are several who are interested outside of the board members we have now.
Yeah, it seems like we're actually going to have a ballot with non-members or non-board members on it this go round, which is awesome.
And then also in June, we re-elect the executive board. So again, the board could switch before then, but that's also something to consider, as we'll have to redo the executive board as well.
Just want to put it on everyone's radar because we do tend to forget.
Okay.
Alrighty. Shall we move on?
Any AOB?
AOB?
So I just want to bring up to everybody, if you saw the email that Max actually shot off the other day about House Bill 267, and it's for events and funding for events through the New Mexico Tourism Office. What would really help is just letters and emails, letters of support to our legislature, to you can send them off to the tourism office and they'll get them to the legislature, or send them to me, I'll get them out there. But I think we need, as just small business owners, saying, yes, we need these events and this is why. It is, these are the heart and the soul of our town. So please, you guys put up some money to help, especially events have taken such a hit. So I really, really want to suggest that if you can, please put your pen to your paper and let's get some letters off. Let's be a big push on this.
And as the chamber, we already submitted a letter of support, and the New Mexico Chamber Executive Association also submitted a letter of support.
That's awesome.
Put out an email as well with the dates and numbers and whatnot for them to get a hold of people. We should send that out via the chamber, I think.
Okay.
Every little bit helps.
Yep. Yeah, but just as owners of all your businesses, just write a letter saying, yes, this is what we need, please.
We can certainly do that. Anything else?
I have a question.
Okay.
Did we get a letter of support from April for her board seat?
No.
And who is going to be writing that letter of support if we do get the letter?
I would say the town of Red River.
What person would that be doing that for the town of Red River?
Do you want it from Linda? One from the mayor?
Linda doesn't own the town, so I don't know if that would work.
Okay. You want it from Georgiana then?
I'm not sure. This is just something I think we need to discuss as a board to figure out. Because I don't know if the town has an owner to sign that letter.
Right.
And if the town doesn't have an owner, that would go against our bylaws.
Wouldn't it be maybe a town council member or someone, because that would be, they're more of a deciding factor as far as kind of like how our board is. So would it be a counselor maybe?
I think that April needs to talk with the town attorney as to how to handle that.
I can do that. That's not an
I
issue.
think you're right, Karen.
Cool. Hey, I only have till June anyway, so just hang on.
Even if it is just till June, we do need to be sure that we are following our bylaws.
Agreed, Liz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can even ask, I'll check with town council tonight too. Didn't you guys, have you ever had anybody else from the town on your board before?
No, they always attend our meetings.
Yeah.
But they've never sat on the board. I personally think it's somewhat of a conflict of interest, as we saw today, not having a board member be able to vote on certain things concerning the chamber versus the town.
Well, we all should be working together on this. I mean, I don't think that's.
Yeah, I do think we need to be working together on it for sure. But I do think that there could be some conflict of interest here.
I would hope not, but I can understand that, Elizabeth.
Yeah. And then my biggest thing is I just want to be sure that we follow the bylaws. So as long as we can figure out who's going to be signing that letter, and we probably need to get that as soon as possible.
Well, we did put in our membership. Does that, I mean, is that where you want, is that how it streams back? Like when you look at other businesses, it goes through whoever has the membership, correct?
No, so anyone who sits on the board who is not an owner of a business in the town has to have a letter of support from the owner supporting the fact that they can sit on the board.
I understand. I see. Okay.
Yeah. So we just need to be sure that we get that letter.
Okay.
Carolyn, this might be a question for Ron, because I remember him saying that in the past, several directors ago, they kind of had a spot on the board. So he's apparently crossed this once before.
Yeah, we'll talk to Ron also. And April, if you'll just ask, if you can, find out from your end.
Yep, I'll look into it. No worries.
Anything else, folks? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, folks. Thank you very much. We'll see you all later.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.